Hey guys, so today we are going to be making a yeast starter. I'll show you all the equipment and ingredients you need, I'll show you how to do it, and we'll brew a beer with it on Saturday. For those of you that don't know what a yeast starter is, or for the new brewers out there who haven't begun making yeast starters, basically it's a mini beer. I use the ratio 2 cups of water to a half cup of dry malt extract. So basically what you're doing when you make a yeast starter is you're creating this mini beer which you'll put your yeast into and ramp up the yeast. Get them ready to go, get them ready and active and healthy, and make them want to work on your 5.5 gallons or 5 gallons. So watch me as I take my journey into making a yeast starter, and follow along with me if you're looking to do the same thing. So the first thing you're going to need is your yeast. In this case I'm using wyeast 3056 Bavarian wheat blend. In addition to the yeast, you're going to need some dry malt extract. In this case, I have some Breeze Golden Light. We're going to use about a half cup of this. Now here's some basics you're going to need as well. You're going to need a spray bottle of sanitizer. In this case, I'm using Star San. You'll need some measuring cups. As I said, we're going to use about a half cup of the dry malt extract, as well as 2 cups of water, and you need a pot to heat it in. Now these next items are optional. However, to make a proper yeast starter without having to do a whole lot of shaking, you're going to need a flask. This is a 1000 milliliter flask. You're going to need a stir plate as well as a stir bar. In there. Now if you're going to be using a wyeast smack pack like I am, go ahead and smack it and shake it up real good. I've already done this, and as you can see the bag is starting to swell. Now this is not essential. Inside here there's a smack pack that releases nutrient into the yeast, which is good to have, and that's why I smack it and recommend that you do too. So here we are with our 2 cups of water already on the stove. The heat is on, and we're going to add our dry malt extract. Just like that, and stir it in. I'm just using a simple spoon for this. Again, this is 2 cups of water and 1/2 cup of dry malt extract. I'm heating it up, stirring it around to make sure it doesn't burn, and trying to get it to a boil. Once it gets to a boil, we will keep it boiling for about 10 minutes. So now that we have the dry malt extract and water boiling on the stove, we're going to fill our sink up with water and ice to cool it down. I apologize for skipping ahead to this step. I had a new puppy emergency and had to do other things while we were reaching a boil. But the 2 cups of water and ½ cup of dry malt extract is boiling away on the stove, and I'm filling the sink up to chill it down. That's really about it. It's basically just like brewing a regular extract kit. And here we are about 5 minutes into the boil. So we're about 5 minutes into the boil. I've got my sink full of ice water, and I'm going to sanitize my flask. This is not an essential step because I will be pouring directly from the stove into the flask. But if you don't have a Pyrex style flask, you have to sanitize. I cannot stress that enough. You have got to sanitize if you're not going to be using a Pyrex style flask. But even though I am, I'm still going to sanitize it, spray it all down nice and good, sanitize the outside just in case. So as you can see, It's all misty in there with star sand. Shake it up just a little bit. So now that the flask is sanitized, I'm also going to sanitize a piece of aluminum foil. This is what I'm going to be using to cover my flask while it's on the stir plate. You can use a bung and an airlock if you want to, or just a bung. Regardless, it needs to be covered, and whatever you're using needs to be sanitized. Again, I cannot stress that enough. Sanitize, sanitize, sanitize. So here we are with our boiling liquid. We're going to pour it into our flask. Can't figure it. Okay. Be very careful when doing this. So here we have our wort inside the flask. And I'm going to cool this down. Again, this was 2 cups of water and a half cup of dry malt extract, boiled on the stove for about 10 minutes, and now we are in the chilling phase. And we're going to take our sanitized smack pack and pour in the yeast. Set it back down on the stir plate. Turn it on. And now we're going to cover the top with our sanitized aluminum foil. Now you want to make sure that this is sitting somewhere it's not going to be disturbed either by you, your significant other, or your dogs. So make sure you hide your wires out of reach. And that's it.